Good evening and welcome to the API, a program produced, presented and aired Tuesdays and Thursdays by the Agency for Public Information. We keep you up to date with all the latest developments in government policies and projects. On today's program, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines opens the much-anticipated Vermont-Francois Bridge at a cost of 1.6 million EC dollars. The Ministry of Fisheries unveils a month of activities to culminate on Fisherman's Day in May at an exhibition-style launch of the Fisheries Compound in Kingstown. And under the theme, Youths Bringing a New Face to Agriculture, students at the Division of Technical and Vocational Education of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College embarks on an enterprising endeavor to manufacture composite flour. The details to these stories when we return, but first, here is News Watch with Ashishia Sam.
Good evening and welcome to News Watch. I'm Ashishia Sam. A team of experts from Venezuela are currently in the state to conduct assessments and pre-select persons to benefit from medical eye care and surgery. This comes after the agreement that was signed between St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela to implement a vision care program titled America Vision across the island. Under this initiative, persons requiring surgery will be given the opportunity to travel to Venezuela in June-July of this year to receive surgery free of cost. In a bid to cover the entire population, the mission will see the expert team visiting several locations throughout the length and breadth of the country to lend their expertise, including Georgetown, Mesopotamia, Barely, Kingstown, and the Grenadines. The Venezuelan team and support personnel will conduct screening of up to 500 Vincentians daily to determine suitability to participate in the Miracle Mission program. The conditions that will be treated in Venezuela are cataract and pterygium or fleshy growth on the eye. The Venezuelan team of experts will be in the state until April 26. Customers of the St. Vincent Electricity Services Limited VINLEC will see a fuel surcharge rate of 34.47 cents applicable on electricity bills for the month of April. This rate represents an increase from last month's figure, which was 28.63 cents per unit. Customers are reminded that there are several factors that influence the fuel surcharge rate, namely fuel price, fuel consumption, and electricity sales. During the month of March, the cost of diesel used for the generation of electricity amounted to $3.5 million when compared to the cost of $3.1 million in February, while there was a slight decrease in sales. In addition, output from the company's hydro plants remains low. VINLEC wishes to reassure customers that the company continues to work to improve the efficiency of its operations to ensure customers receive valuable and reliable service. The company continues to encourage customers to continue energy conservation, as this practice will help to reduce consumption. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment on Wednesday held a sensitization training workshop for the introduction of inactivated polio vaccines IPV here at the Ministry of Health conference room. Focal points for immunization, Sister Ferosa Roach, disclosed that the sensitization workshop is significant since it is geared at training health workers to prepare the health system and people for the introduction of IPV and global polio eradication. She highlighted this country's support to the global eradication of polio.
As we pledge our support to the global polio eradication and endgame initiative, it therefore became necessary for us to integrate the polio eradication strategy into our routine immunization and broader health service deliveries. In anticipation of achieving global polio eradication, the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment has made the commitment to introduce IPV into the routine immunization schedule. Inactivated polio vaccine introduction is a key element of the polio endgame and readiness to manage risk associated with oral polio type 2 withdrawals.
PAHO country specialist Anique Wilson lauded this country's immunization program, more particularly the district nurses whose role she says cannot go unnoticed.
I must also take time to commend St. Vincent and the Grenadines for maintaining over a 95% immunization coverage for the diseases covered under the expanded program in immunization. And this, we must also recognize the district nurses who played a very important part in achieving this. Now, this practice of immunization is very important, as it is one of the greatest achievements of public health. And we must work assiduously to maintain high rates of coverage and protect our children and overall population from vaccine-preventable diseases.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines commenced the immunization program in September 1977 and has maintained a high coverage. The Roads, Buildings and General Services Authority, BRAXA, commenced its road repair program for 2015 at an estimated cost of $1.7 million. Currently, road repair work is being done in Glen from the Mental Health Building to the Louis Punnett Home, the Calder Main Road, Lomans Windward, Montgrennan Diamonds Main Road, Simon Road Cut Open Section, Bel Air Village Road from the junction above Oscar's Machine Shop to Kane Hall, and the Annisvale Plan Road. Road repair work is also being done on the Windward Highway. BRAXA has just completed repairs on the Palmist Road in Layou and Rillen Hill Gap to the Francois Bridge in Vermont. BRAXA is making every effort to minimize disruption to the traffic by implementing scheduled road repairs to accommodate motorists and road users. The company hopes that with the cooperation of the public, the road repair program will be completed on schedule with minimal disruption. And that's where we end Newswatch for this evening. Stick around, the API's presentation continues. I am Ashisi Sam. Good evening.
32 islands and keys are waiting to be discovered. Take a look at us now. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
If you've just joined us, you're viewing a presentation of the Agency for Public Information. Our featured presentation this evening is the construction of the Vermont-Francois Bridge, constructed at a cost of 1.6 million EC dollars. Residents came out in their numbers for the opening of this facility on Wednesday, April 15, constructed with funding from the governments of the Republic of China on Taiwan and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The API's Shanna Daniel was there and has more in this report.
Residents of Vermont were jubilant and expressed their satisfaction at the official opening of the Vermont-Francois Bridge on April 15th. The bridge connects the community of Francois to the rest of Vermont. Residents said that this will bring an end to the inconvenient trek across the river. And Pastor Alex of the Dubois Gospel Hall Church, in his prayer, thanked God that the villagers will no longer have to stop and change their shoes to cross the river on their way to church. Chief Engineer Brent Bailey gave a brief history on how the project came to be.
The Vermont-Francois Bridge. I got introduced to this project when I became Chief Engineer in 2008. And my first impression was, and I'll be honest, that it's too expensive. At $1.2 million, and that was the estimate in 2008. for a single lane bridge, that was my first impression. And I honestly, I had put up some opposition to it, I'll be frank. And I had a conversation with, this would have been at a CCE, with Sir Louis Straker, who was then Deputy Prime Minister, who had a totally different view from mine. He said, Brent, this is a project for the people. And I said, but Sir Louis, it's too expensive. He said, Brent, let us go. Let us go together. Let us see. And I will explain to you why this is a project for the people. And he then pointed out to me in very eloquent description of how a lady has to, when she's going to church, has to take off her shoes. And he showed me right in the back there the actual stones that they have to cross. And he painted a picture in my mind as to what the residents have to experience to go from this community over into Franceways, and vice versa. Of course, I was not sold. And he then told me that it's important because the farmers can go from this side, go up to Franceways that has all the agricultural lands, and they will get there easier, quicker. I thought about it, but honestly, I was not sold. Then he said, what do you think it will cost if we lost a child trying to cross that river and the river came down at the same time? I was sold. And then from that point, I committed myself to this project. The project lasted a considerable length of time, for which there were several constraints. In addition to that, we also had 4 natural disasters which the country had to face, and the limited resources within the Ministry of Works were challenged every time one of those events occurred. Notwithstanding those events, we at the ministry were always gently reminded and motivated by our friends, our development partners, the government, the members of ambassadors' diplomatic team, to stay on course, stay on target, help get this project done, because this project was as important to them as it was to the ministry, as it was to the community.
Senator Julian Francis, Minister of State in the Ministry of Transport and Works, explained some of the difficulties involved in getting the project completed.
This is a joint effort of Sir Louis Straker, the Taiwanese ambassador in Taiwan, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the people of Vermont and Franceways, Sea Operations Limited, and the Ministry of Works with the chief engineers ahead. That's a joint operation that produced this wonderful bridge. In fact, in the 2013 floods, I lived just on the hill over there. I tried to get into Vermont the morning, and got as far as just down by Queensbury Gap, couldn't go any further. But early next morning, I insisted that I must reach up here because I wanted to see if any damage was done to the footings of this wonderful edifice that we have here. There were some little shaky stones at the bottom that got dislodged. But the chief engineer redesigned it and poured some concrete, and we have secured the base of it. And there's no question as to its stability. And I am sure that this edifice is going to be here for a long, long time. Sea Operations, the contractor on this job, is a man and a company, but a man Sado. And one of the reasons he's not here today, somebody's phone is buzzing, not mine. Mine is way over there. One of the reasons that he's not here, he is due to go overseas. I believe he's supposed to travel this afternoon for medical attention. And I spoke to his dear wife this morning, and she said that he missed the flight, he postponed the flight, and he may be in Vermont. But I doubt it very much that we're going to see him again if we don't see him by now. But I want to thank him and congratulate him for a wonderful job that he has done on this bridge. He has had very frustrating moments. He has called me sometimes 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at the night. Or sometimes, I suppose, when he's leaving home to come to the site on Vermont at 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning, I'll get a call from Sado complaining of this, that, and the other. And not just ordinary complaints, substantial complaints that I would have to refer to the chief engineer. Eventually, we overcame all the problems and we got this matter solved. But it withstood the wrath of the 2013 floods. So all of you down up here can lie down on your bed at night when the river is in flood and know that the Vermont-Francois Bridge ain't going nowhere.
Project, which was completed at a cost of 1.6 million EC dollars, was co-funded by the Republic of China and Taiwan. Ambassador His Excellency Boshungur said that the Vermont Bridge is another symbol representing the friendship between St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Taiwan. The ambassador expressed gratitude to all those who were involved in the Vermont-Francois Bridge project.
It's really a great honor and a pleasure for my embassy to be here to join you for this opening ceremony of the Vermont-Francois Bridge. First of all, on behalf of my government and people of the Republic of China, Taiwan, I would like to extend our sincere congratulations to the government and people of St. Vincent Grenadines for the successful completion and inauguration of this bridge. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Ministry of Transport, Works and Urban Development, and as well as the contractor and all those who have contributed to the building of this bridge. So it's a wonderful work. So thank you very much for this one. Now, the residents in this area, in this region, do not have any worry on flooding or whatever when they cross the river anymore. I would like to join my previous speakers on giving this special acknowledgement to a special person, Sir Louis Straker. Just like Chief Engineer Bailey mentioned earlier, Sir Louis has done personally a lot to help the materialization of this project. So thank you, Sir Louis. Taiwan is very proud to be a partner of St. Vincent and Grenadines over the years on the national development. And this time, we are very proud to be a part of this project. Like the Colonel Bridge, the Rapaka Bridge, the Basin Hole Bridge, and other infrastructure work. Now the Vermont-Francois Bridge here also stands as a symbol of strong friendship between our two countries.
And Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, said that the bridge is very important in connecting two sides of what is the same community. The Prime Minister added that his government has done more than any other government as it relates to projects that impact on the lives of people.
Comrade, this bridge, which you see we have built here, with all the river defenses and everything, and the approaching roadways, everything, is $1.6 million. I want you to get this $1.6 million. It could have been said that, well, you don't gotta build it. People could go wrong so, and they could go wrong the other way. Yeah. But Louis Straker and Julian and the government and Jomo say no. We gotta spend this money. And we have to connect these two sides of what is the same community. Now, Pastor, I have 110 million from the World Bank. 25 million from the European Union. I have 56 million generally from the CDB for the roads and bridges and the like, and 25 specially for additionally for the South Leeward Highway. So that is 81 from the Caribbean Development Bank. Then Ecuador is doing work nearly $13 million on 4 bridges. One down at Hope, one at Kakata, one at Sharps in Chateaubriand, and one in Plan in Chateaubriand. And we have gotten the report that preliminary approval has been given to be confirmed by their finance committee for an application we made for 80 million Eastern Caribbean dollars to fix the feeder roads, the village roads, all the secondary roads. Check it up and you see a gone past $330 million. And I ain't talking about money which we put in yet, you know. I ain't talking about our taxpayers' money yet. I'm talking about what this government has already negotiated with spending some. Brent Bailey as chief engineer here and his staff, they're busy at work doing the designs for the various things.
Good evening, our Prime Minister. As a token of appreciation, I present you this fruit basket. And on behalf of Vermont and Francois, we want to say thank you.
Thank you very much, my princess.
And 2 community stalwarts, Alfred Brown and Madeline Mile, cut the ribbon to declare the bridge officially opened to loud cheers and applause from the villagers. Reporting for the API, I am Shana Daniel.
Don't worry with him, buy some fresh Caribbean fish for me.
Don't bother with him, man. You buy some conch for me, man.
Let me vote for him, man. Let me tell you vote for him, man. I'm moving for the fruits and everything.
Behavior like this is one sure way of chasing our guests away from St. Vincent and the Grenadines and killing your own business. Stop visitor harassment. Your business is important and so is your approach. Let's all work together to ensure our visitors feel comfortable while visiting St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
A message from the Ministry of Tourism and Industry.
Tourism today, tourism tomorrow, tourism always.
Thanks for staying with us. The Minister of Agriculture, Rural Transformation, Forestry, Fisheries and Industry held the official launch of the Fishermen's Month of activities last week under the theme 40 Years of Harvest, Accept No Less, Fish is Best. The launch was held at the National Fisheries Marketing Limited and saw a number of exhibits on display. Here's more in this report from Sheridan Lewis.
Celebrating 40 years of the Fishermen's Month of activities, the fisherfolk of this country are ready to commemorate a significant milestone. With the slogan, "Put a fish on your dish," and the overall theme, 40 Years of Harvest, Accept No Less, Fish is the Best, the Ministry of Fisheries is embracing the World Food Day Zero Hunger Challenge for 2015 and the declaration of this year as the Year of the Harvest. Minister of Agriculture, Rural Transformation, Forestry, Fisheries and Industry, the Honorable Sabuto Caesar, urged the youths of this country to pursue a career in the agriculture and fishing sectors, since it is a viable industry. Minister Caesar also emphasized the importance of the Argyle International Airport as a game changer in the fishing industry, where expanded markets will be achieved.
We have an ongoing education revolution where we are training, we are tooling and retooling persons in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to work in the productive sectors. The question is though, how many young persons from St. Vincent and the Grenadines are willing to take up the challenge to pursue studies in areas which will address, which will touch and concern increasing the viability of the fisheries subsector in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Persons are studying many professions, but I want to encourage the young persons who are going off to study that there is an industry, the fishing industry in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which currently requires significant human resource investment if we are to advance the sector. We have a significant inhibition as a small island developing state as it pertains to the exportation of fish. If you're exporting yams, bananas and dashin, the issue of the perishability of the commodity is important, but it is not an inhibitive factor. However, when you are exporting fish, you have to get the fish to the markets internationally in the shortest possible time. And it brings me to a very important issue that unless we have an international airport in this country, we will not see the significant growth that we can achieve in the fisheries subsector. Different persons may have different views about where the international airport should go. They may have issues about the cost of the international airport. But I think that in the national conversation on production that we are going to have and that we are having, we must be on one, that the international airport at Argyle is of first importance if we are to move commodities such as fish out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to reach the market in a state that is acceptable to the consumers. Once we have greater access to the markets in the United States of America, it is our view as a ministry that we will see that there are more persons who are interested to invest in the fisheries subsector. We have been able to attract foreign direct investment over the years. However, as well-intended as these investors are, when they get here, because they have to transship the fish to Trinidad and Tobago before getting to the United States of America, the process starts, but it stops very soon. And we owe the fisher folk of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the fishers, we owe you the Argyle International Airport so that we can increase the trade between St. Vincent and the Grenadines and international markets. I would also like to see, as we celebrate 40 years of these activities, that in 2015 and 2016 and the years ahead, we seek to reduce that component of our food import bill where we import fish into this country and fish products. However, in order for us to see a reduction in that, we have to first ensure that the price for fish in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is competitive. Because if the price is not competitive, persons will go for cheaper imported commodities. And these are some of the issues that I want us to think about so that when we have the conversation, we can reflect on them. The ministry advances the Zero Hunger program, which is targeted at food and nutrition security. And this goes to the issue of the distribution of fish in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have to ensure that there is equity of distribution, and we do not see what is happening currently, that in fishing villages we have an oversupply, and in the non-fishing communities we have an undersupply. Because what you're seeing today in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is that in fishing communities, fish is sold at a significantly cheaper price. But in the non-fishing areas, the cheapest in the Caribbean.
Chief Fisheries Officer Jennifer Cruikshank Howard outlined the various programs and projects being implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries to boost the fishing industry here.
Fish and seafood constitute a significant segment of the food industry and can be the most traded food commodity worldwide. Fish trade is seen as a potential important source for the generation of employment and foreign exchange earnings. The growing importance of fish and fish products in international trade and for regional food security accentuates the need for effective management of the fisheries resources and bring to the fore a number of challenges, which includes but not limited to overfishing, fish hygiene and food quality, coastal degradation, pollution, and our most recent climate change, just to name a few. In an effort to build capacity to meet international fish quality standards, fisherfolk in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, our plant personnel, fish inspectors were trained in fish handling and processing standards, operating fish handling and processing, standards, operation procedures, and plant management. These training complement the efforts of the Ministry of Agriculture's policy, which is to provide opportunities for investment in the industry. Over the past 3 to 5 years, the government has focused on the development of a commercially viable fishing industry. A number of activities have been implemented or initiated to increase production through the creation of an environment for investment. Within the harvesting sector, these include our fleet expansion program, which was designed to redirect fishing effort from the nearshore, heavily fished areas to the offshore areas where there is greater potential for development within the capture fisheries. This program was also intended to reduce risk to fishers in their work environment and enhance capacity of stakeholders to utilize modern and more efficient technology. However, this program has not yet yielded the results expected, although favorable terms and conditions have been offered to facilitate access to financing. Another project, the Caribbean Fisheries Co-Management Project, CARIFICO, was created to increase the participation of fishers in fisheries management. The project encompassed two components. There is a FAD fisheries component and a lobster pot fisheries component. The lobster fisheries component encountered difficulties in 2013 and will be reintroduced in 2015. The objective of the FAD fisheries component is to provide fishers with FAD building materials and technical assistance, thereby encouraging them to become a part of the fisheries management process. We are appealing for the fishers to be part of this co-management project. The introduction of the MOVE Fish Aggregator Device, FAD, was designed to aggregate fish, thereby reducing the search time that the fishers will spend for fish and the use less fuel to increase production. In 2014, a total of 1,612,719 pounds of fish was landed with an estimated value of $10,202,090. This is an increase of 2.36% over 2013.
Chairman of the Fishermen's Day Committee, Vincent Harry, noted that the committee has encouraged the development of various fishing cooperatives and urged the fisherfolk of this country to always upgrade themselves by embracing technology.
This year, in order to get greater involvement from the fisher folks, the committee requests that each fishing cooperative hosts a week of activities. The Barley Fisheries Development Cooperative activities will start from April 27th to the May 1st. The Caliqua Fisher Folks Cooperative, which we know as CALFICO, activities will start from May 4th to May 8th. And the Goodwill Fisherman Cooperative, of which I am a member, will host activities from the 17th to the 22nd of May at Rose Place. Ladies and gentlemen, today's slogan, "Put a fish on your dish," highlighted the fact that fishers, fish and fish product are a good source of essential nutrients needed for proper growth and good health. We are hereby encouraging the nation to put more fish on your dish. To the new technology, FAD, fishers need to change the way they fish in order to be more productive. Enhance the addition of 2 new FAD, which were deployed in our waters of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, have brought home a point that new technology increase productivity, as can be seen from the amount of fish that have been caught around these new FADs. Concern of this, I will encourage all fishers to invest in other technology such as GPS, 4-stroke engine, radio. For example, radio will help to chart our course, give correct location, reduce the risk of getting lost at sea.
A number of exhibits were on display showcasing the collaborative efforts of various institutions within the sector. Fishermen's Month of activities will climax on May 25 at the Calico playing field, where the annual Fishermen's Day activities will be held. Sheridan Lewis, reporting for the API.
The API presentation continues with the launch of the composite flower, a production of the agriculture students at the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College.
They are small and impressionable. How you interact with them is very important. So don't believe for 1 second that anything you do won't leave a lasting impression. The power to make a positive impression is in your hands. By playing with them, reading to them, talking and singing to them, you can help them develop positively, because children are never too young to learn. This message was brought to you by the UNICEF Office for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, the Caribbean Child Support Initiative, and this station.
Composite flours are mixtures of different vegetable flours rich in starch, protein, and/or nutrients, with or without wheat flour. These were in abundance last Wednesday when the agriculture students of the Division of Technical and Vocational Education hosted an exhibition with baked goods made from composite flour. The API's Sharice John was there and filed this report.
The Division of Technical and Vocational Education of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College held an agro-processing exhibition on Wednesday, April 15th to showcase various composite flours derived from locally sourced produce. The venture, which was undertaken by the Year 2 Agricultural Marketing students, was the brainchild of lecturer Mishka Edwards, who noted that the innovativeness of the students comes as a result of an increased need for practical measures in sustainability and food security.
This project was inspired by the innovativeness and resourcefulness of natives in the past, who would have found creative means of producing the products they needed for consumption amid the adverse effects of the World War. The war brought on a scarcity in flour in the natives, and the natives then utilized locally grown crops to produce flour as much needed for food. As the issue of food security becomes a topic of critical importance worldwide, the agriculture marketing students has devised an innovative way that can assist in ensuring food sustainability and food security for the future of this country, along with promoting a healthier lifestyle while at the same time contributing to the economic development of this country. This venture is the production of composite flour, which was obtained from various root crops such as sweet potato, cassava, among other staples such as breadfruit, banana, plantain, just to name a few.
Osborne Bowens, Dean of the Division of Technical and Vocational Education, underscored the need for greater research and data collection measures in the promotion of productive processes in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Bowens also noted that the college has partnered with 2 Canadian universities to develop an agricultural entrepreneurship program, which is expected to be on offer from September 2015.
We are an educational institution. We should be changing the landscape in terms of the discussion and the narrative that takes place in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So, for example, as an institution, how much do we know about, if we talk about the area of agriculture, soil and soil samples across St. Vincent and the Grenadines? We're an institution that should have an idea of what types of soil are available across St. Vincent and Grenadines for the production of what types of crops. If we talk about the other programs that we have, for example, in automotive, the vehicles that we have in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the levels of carbon monoxide that is being produced. If we talk about the types of oils and lubricants that are being used and their disposal, how much do we know about those things and how much data is being collected? and used for productive purposes in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I'm saying that as an institution, that we have to position ourselves to collect that data so that it could be used for productive purposes in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. One of the things that we're doing in that regard, our partnership with University of Guelph and the University of Dalhousie in Canada would allow us to reform our agriculture program somewhat. So as of September 2015, we would be, or we should be offering a program that we would refer to as an agriculture entrepreneurship program. And that is where students would enter into a more demand-driven type of agriculture program, in which our students would be involved in actual production, moving raw materials into finished product, and be involved in issues of labeling and marketing those products. One of the things that we have to do in that regard as we move in that area is that we have to do some basic market research to find out what are some of the products that are coming into St. Vincent and the Grenadines that we can produce here and put on our supermarket shelves for our own production. It moves to the issue, or speak to the issue of food security, food safety. As we are aware, across the region and across the world, there are discussions taking place as it relates to basic food security. What are some of the chemicals that are in the food that we consume? And I'm sure that if we are to consider those issues, if we were to produce a lot of those foods locally, that the chemical that is involved in a lot of these foods, we will be able to cut down on a lot of that, and in a lot of ways increase our life longevity and expectancy.
Director of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College, Nigel Scott, took the opportunity to praise the students' efforts and offered some foresight into the possibilities that may exist post-graduation.
In less than 15 weeks this semester, this group of students have learned about composite flour. They have labored at producing the flour. They have worked at producing some of the end products. Imagine what would happen, or what could happen, if this group on graduation decided they're going to stick together and they're going to form a cooperative and they're going to take this beyond the classroom into their livelihoods. Imagine what could happen. And that is what we need each of our students to be able to say and to be able to do. Because the reality is, not all of them will find jobs with companies already established. And some of them will have to make their own pathways and make their own jobs and create the opportunities for themselves. This exhibition today and the work they have done, as Mr. Boyens already said, spans agricultural diversity, the whole food security, the trade aspect, and the size of our food import bill that must come down if we are going to be a sustainable society. It spans all of those areas. And it really warms my heart to see the hard work that these students have put in over the last several weeks.
Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Sabota Caesar, pledged his support for the students' endeavor by offering financial assistance through the Farmers Support Company in the amount of $20,000 to further develop the venture. Caesar also took the opportunity to invite students to be a part of the National Conversation on Production in Agriculture and Agro-Processing to be held later this year.
I want to first begin, Director, by making an offer on behalf of the Farmers Support Company, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The Farmers Support Company was established 13 months ago to provide financial support to farmers, fishers, and agro-processors. And I want to note that we are going to make available the sum of $20,000 as an investment in the students who are here dealing with the issue of composite flour. A few years ago, for some reason, I was taken aback by a particular mantra. And the mantra says, if we are to develop this country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, land of the blessed, there is a need for an exceptional cadre of multi-talented and multifaceted young persons who are not taken over by vanity and an inward attraction, but who are willing to look outwards to develop themselves firstly, to develop their communities that they live in. And if we have stronger communities in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are going to have a better nation. And if this policy and if this mantra is adopted in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and in the other islands of the OECS, we will have a better OECS. We'll have a better CARICOM. And in turn, we will have a better world. But I want to note that the change begins with you. It is only after you have changed yourself that you can offer yourself to be a part and a positive part of the national conversation on production. It is my belief that St. Vincent and the Grenadines presently is positioned to provide the most opportunities to young entrepreneurs to get into business when you put us on a comparative scale with any other island in CARICOM. And I'll tell you why. Because we have had traditionally limited ventures in the private sector in many of the productive areas. These areas can be considered virgin territory and primary for investment and development. If you go to St. Lucia or to Trinidad and Tobago, you will realize that a business idea that you have as a young person here that no one is doing, that somebody in Trinidad is doing it in their country. Or somebody in Barbados is doing it in their country. Or somebody in St. Lucia is doing it in their country. Those are the opportunities that I want our young persons to focus on and to target, and for us to do it here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines for ourselves. We expect to see an official launch of the conversation on production in agriculture and agro-processing before the end of May. And we will wish that all students be present at the launch. You will receive adequate notice, and let all of us be disciples to take the good news and the message wherever we go. So I end as I started. I have made an offer. The round of applause, I don't know if that is to be taken as an acceptance, but the round of applause has to be followed up by certain things, and I would wish that we do that as a matter of urgency. May God richly bless us all.
The students also performed a short skit to promote the awareness of composite flour.
Lucy! Lucy! Oh, Dolores! Could you imagine? Saturday, I went into the supermarket, but purchased 2 pounds of flour. I done them like me to look at dumpling them. You could tell me now when I go up by the cashier, she come and go tell me, flour scarce. Whoa, get away, I say. You take it for joke, okay? It's true. Well, me not for me, them thing they could
never happen because me know the cassava, the banana, the potato, and even the breadfruit when me have in my backyard, and that me use to make me composite flour.
Composite flour?
Yes, girl, you never hear about them thing, me?
No, I mean just that they are not selling me and none for the tell me about this composite flour.
Well, yes, girl, come on the road, I'll tell you a little bit. So yes, girl. You get your provision, you wash them, you slice them thin. You could even hold them up and make sure you could see your neighbor through them. Yes, girl. You get them, you put them for sun even for 2 days. Once you make sure they come crispy and nice.
I like this composite flour.
So yes, even you could use a grater with great grandmama used to use for a long time days. I even modernized milk.
I know I get one of that when my grandmother used to use long time ago the same all I used to grind, but that's hot on now.
Well, yes, girl, that's here for you.
Well, I see God that could help me out because since me there me and nothing for do. My husband got work, children got school, me that they don't sit down and get nothing for do.
Well, yes, that maybe not depend on you know, but now, I know, provision and it better go.
True. And I hear about some nutrients contents about those provisions.
Yes, girl, rich in protein and starch, all the nutrients you could think of.
Because you know I get this one every minute I have to run to the hospital with little asthma attack.
Girl, yes, you have asthma, kidney problem, cancer, any problem you could think of. Yes, Dolores. Now I tell you, I hope you put everything in practice and enjoy me and make me composite flour.
I will soon help because I want to let the man to put me back book.
Yes, yeah, let me go.
Reporting for the Agency for Public Information, I'm Sharish John.
This has been a presentation of the Agency for Public Information. You can join us again on Thursday evening at 8 for another presentation. I'm pleased to announce that you can now join us via Facebook at the Agency for Public Information, SVG, to access all our programs as well as via YouTube. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm your host, Dion John, wishing you a pleasant evening and a wonderful week.